Hey everybody, welcome back to World History class with Mr. Finn. We have our map up today. Today we're going to tell you the story about the first triumvirate. We looked at the people who were involved in it last class, and we'll continue with that today. We'll get to the first triumvirate. There's a first because there will be a second, but let's get to it because there's a lot of information. So, if you remember, and if you don't remember, go back and watch the last video. We had three people. We had Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar, and there was three people that were now in control of Rome. Now, what happens is every person who's in charge now was going to have their own military that's going to be loyal to them because they would then provide their military with land and stuff like that. Perks. So each one of these three guys has a command and they go into expand Rome because everybody in Rome loved the idea of like, wow, look how great they are. They're expanding Rome. They're winning battles. This is a big thing for the Romans. Now Crassus is going to be in Syria, which is out here in the Middle East. We're going to have Caesar in this area expanding the empire, which is called Gaul at the time, and you'll see that. But he's up here in landlocked Europe. And then there's going to be Pompey, who's going to be over here in Spain. Now what's important to understand for our story is that Spain is pretty close to where Rome is, especially because you can take a ship and get back to Rome pretty quickly. So really Pompey is the one who's closest to Rome. And really that's what I want to talk about. Just understand that Crassus is way out here. Pompey's pretty close, and Caesar's up here, and he's relatively close as well, but he would have to march overland, so it would take longer if he wanted to get back to Rome. So those are where our three people are who are in control of Rome, and what they're doing is winning military battles to make Rome amazing, have everyone love them, and the three of them are working together, which is pretty good because you have three. Three means that it's hard to have one person get too popular, but we are going to see what happens in just a second when that three turns to two. All right, let me get you back where you need to be. We'll take a move here. All right. Here's our board. We got Pompey, Crassus, and Caesar up on it already. Let me get rid of our map here, and we can figure out what happens with our guys. All right, got my marker right here. We have our three people. Now remember, Pompey is in Spain, Crassus is in Syria, and Caesar is in Gaul. Now, what happens to start the domino effect is Crassus, unfortunately, let's put it on this side, in battle, is going to have our unhappy passed away or dead face. He is going to be killed in battle, which is not good because now we're left with what? Just two. And remember, Crassus was the richest person in Rome. He was really powerful. He really helped balance it out. But now we have two people, and when we have two people, it's always going to turn to this. Boom. Versus. And we see what's going to happen is a civil war. Now, how do we get to that civil war? Kind of like Marius and Sulla that we talked about already. We're going to have these two fight off against each other. Now, Caesar had been winning victories. He had been expanding Roman territory. The everyday people loved Caesar. He was great. Pompey was loved by the senators. Now, here is the issue. Pompey's quick to get back to Rome. The senators say, all right, we support Pompey. And they say, Pompey, you're going to be our guy. And they send a note to Caesar, who's all the way up in Gaul. They say, hey, Caesar, you need to leave your military there, and you need to come back by yourself to Rome, and we'll just see what happens. And that means, and Caesar knows this, Caesar knows, hey, if I go back to Rome by myself without my army, I'm not going to make it. They're going to get rid of me, and they're going to make sure Pompey is in charge. So, for our notes, Caesar is in Gaul. He is told to come to Rome, and this is what this means, without his army. All right, so is Caesar going to do this? This is the real question. Now remember, Caesar had been fighting. Caesar was popular. Caesar was ambitious. Caesar was someone who wanted power. In fact, a lot of the senators and the patrician families were a little bit nervous about Caesar because they were like, yo, he seems to kind of really want to be in charge, really want prestige and power. We don't know if we can trust Caesar. And so he knows his politics. He knows everything he needs to know. And he goes, not going to be able to do it. Not going to be able to come back without my army. I am not. I know if I go back, I'm not going to live. I will die if I go back. So he is going to make the decision that he is going to return to Rome with his army, meaning that he already knows what he is doing is going to cause a problem between him and Pompey. So what happens? Let's take a look. All right, let's get rid of this stuff here. We know a civil war is coming. We know we got Pompey. Let's follow our steps here. Told to come back. Caesar, this is an important term, crosses the Rubicon. That's a Seine, and this is actually a river. All right, the reason why I bring it up is because it's pretty popular. Caesar makes a decision that he is going to come back. And when he starts coming back, everybody knows. All the senators are getting worried. Pompey's like, I don't know what's going to happen here. All the people are like, whoa, this is going to get crazy. Caesar's really good at military stuff. We've seen it over the years here. This is a very scary moment. But they all watch him come day by day. They're reading updates and seeing things. And once he gets to the Rubicon River, the Rubicon is a river that's in the north of Italy. He gets to the Rubicon River and says, the die is cast, meaning he's going across this river. And once he comes across this river, the Rubicon, he knows, and everybody knows, all the senators, Pompey, everybody knows that he is coming back, and he is coming back to take power for himself. And so he crosses the Rubicon, and then what do you think Pompey does? What do you think these senators do? What are they going to do? Are they going to stand up to him? No. They are going to run. Pompey does not have his military strength there. He knows Caesar has all of his military. Pompey's like, I'm out of here. All the senators that were supporting Pompey are like, we better get out of here too. And so Caesar crosses the Rubicon, continues to march on the city of Rome, and when he gets there, he is met by just people who love him. He's like, okay, this is good. He comes back. He is in charge of Rome. We'll leave Caesar's name here. You guys can write that stuff down. Crosses the Rubicon, comes back to Rome, and Caesar is going to say that he is a dictator. Now, the word dictator today is usually met by some negative ideas because a dictator is someone who's in charge and they do anything they want, and usually the people suffer because of it. But in Roman times, a dictator just meant that he was going to be in charge. And so this is his aim. He goes, I'm going to be a dictator, but Pompey's still out there. Pompey ran to go get his military, so something has to go down with Pompey. And so what happens is, because we're doing this quickly, in order to become a dictator, we have a battle. And in that battle, Caesar, the word would be defeats Pompey. But, side note on this, Pompey does not die. Pompey is like, well, my army got defeated. Caesar has won. I'm going to run again. And so Pompey runs because he thinks he can get an army back together and fight him again. And so Pompey actually runs to Egypt. He goes to Egypt and he's like, all right, I can set up shop here. I can figure out I can get my army get an army together, and we can go back at it. He runs to Egypt. This is kind of bad for Pompey because he runs to Egypt. He runs to Egypt, and the person who is in charge of Egypt has not quite been a province of Rome yet. The person in charge of Egypt sees Pompey. He knows Caesar's really powerful, and he's like, I know Caesar's going to be in charge of Rome, so I want to get on his good side. And so what happens is, as Pompey runs to Egypt, this is where he meets his end. Pompey is killed. So Pompey, where is he? Pompey's going to end up with our unhappy dead face. So we had 3 people, now we have 1. Pompey goes to Egypt. Pompey is killed by the person who's in charge of Egypt. Caesar finds out that Pompey is in Egypt. Caesar goes to Egypt, and when he gets there, he is met by, the body of Pompey, and he is super upset. I don't know if he really was upset, because this is really an important thing. Pompey was popular. Caesar knew Pompey had to go. Pompey could not be alive. But Caesar didn't have to be the one who killed Pompey. So Caesar can say, it wasn't me. I didn't do it. The Egyptians, these guys did it. So Caesar pretends, I think, to be really upset. Like, oh my goodness, this is a Roman. He was a great Roman. How dare you? How could you do this? But secretly, he was probably thinking, whew, good. Pompey's gone. I didn't have to do it. I'm off the hook. Caesar is going to meet someone named Cleopatra in Egypt when he is there. He stays in Egypt for a little bit of time. We'll look at Cleopatra later because she's going to play a role in the second Triumvirate when we get to it. But Caesar has a little bit of a fling, little romantic relationship with someone named Cleopatra, who is the sister of the person in charge of Egypt. And so Caesar's there. He sees Pompey's gone. He knows that he is left. He is it. Caesar's the only person now left from the first triumvirate. He is now what he wanted to be, which is a dictator. So let's look at Caesar. We're doing a Caesar look today, a quick one, because we're trying to get through the first triumvirate today. So let's take a look at Caesar. Who is he? You might know him from Little Caesars Pizza. There's a lot of Caesar references. Caesar is super popular in, mainstream media, in everything, Western civilization like. Caesar becomes very popular. Caesar was loved by the poorer people of Rome, not by the richer people of Rome. But Caesar's really, really good at politics. So when he gets back to Rome, all those senators that supported Pompey and wanted Pompey to be in charge, he says, I forgive you, no big deal, swear allegiance to me, and we're good. I understand it was a hard time. Caesar himself, his family, had to deal with a similar thing when Marius and Sulla had their civil war. His family supported Marius, but Sulla won, and Sulla did not. Sulla was looking for Caesar's, him and his whole family to try and get rid of them. So he understood, listen, just because you supported the other guy, it's okay. I'm not going to come through and get rid of all of you people. So Caesar made that decision. He also supported the poor people, something that he does do. The Senate is going to go up to 900 people. 900 from 300. He puts 900 people in the Senate instead of just having 300. And he mostly puts people who support him in the Senate, meaning that basically Caesar goes, listen, I put you in the Senate. You do what I say, and we're good. And they're like, totally, I'm in. Yeah, absolutely, Caesar, you're good to go. Caesar gives land. Gives land to the poor. Another big move, if you remember, our Gracchus brothers. They had a whole plan of giving poor people land because we had a lot of landless poor in Rome. Caesar says, listen, I'm the one in charge. I can do whatever I want. I'm doing this. And so he gives land to the poorer people of Rome, making him extremely popular with the masses of Rome. So it's not just the rich people. He's actually trying to appeal to all the people. This does rub the rich people the wrong way, though. And so the rich people are nervous about Caesar. They're seeing him. They're like, everybody is, he's helping poor people. He's supposed to be helping the rich people. This is the way it's always been. We cannot allow Caesar to do this. He is ruining our Roman Republic. He is now making it so that he wants to be a king, like the Etruscan kings. We don't like that. We don't trust Caesar. And again, Roman politics is kind of crazy. And so some of the leading senators decide that they are going to assassinate Caesar. We got to put an end to this. We got to get rid of him. They are going to bring him to the Senate, and they're going to, wait for him. They're just going to say, all right, Helby, here comes Caesar. Hey, nice to see you. What ends up happening, long story short, is Caesar goes to the Senate like he always would, and he gets there, and he starts to get, kind of cornered by a lot of the senators who are like, hey, I have business for you, I have business, and they get all around him. And Caesar is going to then be assassinated. He is going to be, unfortunately, stabbed. I want to say it is 26 or 27 times. Let's just say 27. Stabbed 27 times. And one of the worst parts about this assassination of Julius Caesar is that one of his best family friends, someone that he had forgiven for supporting Pompey, is one of the senators who was the leading senator that assassinated Caesar. His name was Brutus. Now there's Brutus and Cassius, but Brutus is really the more important one because Brutus was Caesar's good family friend. And again, Caesar had forgiven him. And Brutus is going to be the last person to, stab Caesar before he dies. And it is said that Caesar's last words were, even you, Brutus. One of my trusted people is what he was meaning by, but that is the saying, even you, Brutus. Basically saying you were involved in this. How could it be? You betrayed me, and now I'm, dying and about to be dead because of you and your senators and everything else. And Brutus, here's the thing. Brutus and these senators think they saved the Republic. Make sure that's a B there. So remember, the Roman Republic was how it had operated. And they go, listen, we just saved the Republic. Everyone will be excited. We have gotten rid of Caesar, this dictator, this person that was doing all this stuff. We have saved it. Look how great we are. And they think they're going to come out and everyone's going to throw flowers at them and everything else. The problem is, what did I just say about Caesar? Caesar had increased the number of people who were in the Senate. He had given land to the poor. He had been planning building works. Caesar had put games on before. Who loved Caesar? Everybody loved Caesar. All the poor people, all the masses loved Caesar. He was trying to do things. He was trying to change the system to help them more than just have this small group of rich people in charge. And so, as Brutus and Cassius and all these senators think, hey, we did something great, they go out there and they're like, yeah, we got rid of Caesar. And they are met with all these people who are like, boo, boo, how could you do this? You killed the person that we love the most. This is terrible. And Brutus and Cassius and these senators, in Roman fashion, what do? Just like Pompey and the rest of them, they run. They run because they know that there is a group of people who obviously support Caesar. We're going to look at that second triumvirate next time, Mark Antony and Octavian and Lepidus of all people. I'll explain that when we get to it. But this other group now of people who were close to Caesar are going to go out there and try and find Brutus and Cassius and put an end to this. So this civil war and fighting is not over yet. But Caesar, unfortunately, never good. Caesar meets his end by the hands of these senators. And today I want you to turn in these notes to me and make sure it's today for participation and attendance purposes. And next class, we will look at the continuing story of after Caesar has been assassinated, who's next, what's going to happen, and how will this all come to an end. All right, see you then.